Captain Unesh, have you dealt with this kind of stuff?
Hi, good afternoon. Yes, I've had similar sort of things. Maybe not something that's gone this crazy before on the internet, but yeah, unfortunately, things like this started to become a daily occurrence in worldwide, actually.
So give me some examples that you've dealt with.
I've had passengers complain when they're last on board of a full house, saying that they're sitting in this seat, their bag needs to be on top of their head, even though there's no locker space, and then kicking off for that. I've had passengers complain that they paid for a seat which they didn't get when it turned out they hadn't paid for it. And unfortunately, it seems to be more of the case where when people get on a plane, there's a sort of false sense of entitlement, which they seem to forget that it's actually an aircraft going in the air, a pressurized tube going 11 kilometers high, rather than actually just jumping on a bus or getting into an Uber and going down the road to the shops.
Yeah. And that a period of discomfort might be tolerated.
Absolutely. I mean, I mean, it's not in this particular case. I don't think it was a period of discomfort to be tolerated or not. But at the end of the day, the lady was entitled to push her seat back, from what I could see. And if he didn't like it, he could have asked her. And I'm sure if he had spoken to the cabin crew, they could have moved him to another seat if there was one available. So there are other ways to deal with it. The cabin crew are trained to actually deal with situations like this, and also worse situations, depending on the airline. Depends on the type of training the cabin crew get. Like, for example, long haul, because they may not be able to land immediately if there's an incident, if they're over the ocean, for example, compared to short haul where it's up and down much more frequently. But the cabin crew are equipped with training and ways of dealing with conflict in the cabin. So I'm sure there's another side to the story that we don't know about, where the cabin crew did try to, or at least attempted to deal with it.
Was giving him alcohol ever a good idea?
No. If someone like that is purely is behaving like that, openly showing that they're unable to control their emotions. Therefore, I don't think alcohol would have helped, regardless whether this person was under the influence or not. Right? So,
have you seen the video?
Yes, I have.
Because there's a moment, isn't there, halfway through the punching where he realises that she has got her equilibrium and she's staying calm and she's not changing anything about her position. And
I think that infuriated him more, didn't it?
Oh, it did, completely. I mean, you can see a change in his face, and then he says something to her, and then he bashes it even more repeatedly and at higher speed. I mean, gosh, it was escalating, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's unnecessary, and quite frankly, if that would happen on my flight and I was made aware of it by my cabin crew, I'd not accept it. The crew have various different ways of dealing with it. Regardless whether the cabin crew deal with it or even alert the flight crew about it, everything happens under the commander's authority of the aircraft. So the commander of the aircraft has ultimate authority on what would happen. And we are also equipped in a few different ways to deal with it. We may not deal with it directly because that's not our duty, but we may deal with it indirectly through the cabin crew, where we can do a formal warning to the passenger, a final warning to the passenger, which under the various different legal conventions, the Tokyo Convention being one of them, where over 180 different countries have actually signed up for it, to say that if the commander deems someone doing something is inappropriate, regardless whether it's illegal or not, they can take action, and that includes obnoxious behavior.
Because their job is to control the environment of the aeroplane, and they're the most senior person in it. I get it. Unesh, thank you. Good to talk to you. Unesh is an airline captain calling us from Watford.